Okay, so uh, you've been busy. You've sent over all these blog posts and articles, and let me tell you, this stuff is wild.
Definitely some intriguing rabbit holes here.
We're talking secret organizations, agendas, even aliens calling the shots. It's like someone dropped a whole season of X-Files right on my desk.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, and it seems like the main source here is this blog, E.T. and I, the author Bright Garlick.
Well, he's got some interesting ideas, to say the least.
He really goes all in on this stuff. But what's fascinating is how detailed it is. He's created this whole model, calls it the architecture. It's like a hierarchy of power operating behind the scenes, influencing everything.
And it gets pretty elaborate. He divides it into these arms, right? Upper, middle, lower.
Yeah, upper arms, those are the ETs. But not just any ETs. We're not talking little green men here. He says these beings are so advanced they could walk right past you on the street and you'd never know.
Right. He divides them into these groups, the 9, the doorway keepers. It's like something out of a movie. But Bright Garlic writes about it like it's just a fact.
And he claims these upper arm ETs are the ones really in control.
Exactly. Pulling all the strings, and then you've got the middle arms. That's where it gets interesting. He says it's a mix, ETs and humans working together since, get this, around 1921.
Their mission, manage the big issues facing humanity. At least that's how Bright Garlic puts it.
It's like, who authorized this board meeting? And what are these big issues anyway? But then he throws in this historical detail that kind of threw me. He claims Abraham Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln was in contact with this group.
Wow, okay. So we're rewriting history now.
Right. It's a lot to take in. And then you get to the lower arms. That's where we humans come in, or at least some of us. He's talking about powerful groups hidden within corporations, governments, the military, all operating in secret, but all part of this structure, feeding information upwards, ultimately, to those ETs at the top. So what do you think so far? Does any of this sound even remotely plausible? Or is it just, like, too out there?
I mean, it's definitely a lot to process.
It is. We're talking about a whole different way of looking at the world. Like, what if everything we thought we knew about power, about who's really in control? What if it's all wrong? What if it's way more complicated?
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about things a little differently.
It does. And that's what I kind of love about diving into this stuff. It's like, okay, maybe we don't necessarily believe it all, but it gets you asking questions. And sometimes asking the right questions can be just as important as having all the answers.
Absolutely. And speaking of questions, there's this other idea Bright Garlic talks about, this Corky pig concept, and this one really got me thinking. Yeah, this Corky pig thing, it's a weird one.
It's a strange image. Like, what's he even talking about with these Corky pigs?
So he uses this analogy of a piggy bank, right? You smash it open, expecting some spare change.
Right, nothing too exciting.
Exactly. But what if inside there's something else entirely, something unexpected?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
He's saying these quirky pigs, they're like organizations or projects that look totally innocent on the surface.
But they're hiding something.
Right. They're hiding information, sensitive information. And he gives examples. International think tank Corky pigs. Even academic Corky pigs.
So like a think tank that seems totally legit, putting out white papers and research.
But really, it's a front for something else. A way to keep secrets out in the open where no one would think to look.
It's a pretty chilling thought. Like how much of what we see, what we read, even what we think we know, how much of it is actually a carefully constructed facade?
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, who are these puppet masters pulling the strings, and what are they so afraid of us finding out?
Well, Bright Garlic seems to think he's got some answers. He lays out this whole other layer, this diamond complex.
That's right.
Yeah, the diamond complex. It's like he's describing this whole hidden network, right? This web of interconnected institutions and systems that are all working together.
Not even necessarily working together consciously. It's more like they're all part of this larger machine, whether they realize it or not. And the machine keeps churning away, shaping our reality in ways we don't even see.
It's a pretty heady concept, and it makes you wonder, if something like the diamond complex really exists, who built it and who's maintaining it?
And maybe even more importantly, what happens if someone tries to disrupt it? Because Bright Garlic, he's not shy about sharing his own experiences. He claims he's been targeted, attempts to silence him, discredit him.
Right, like that whole honey trap story. It's like something out of a spy movie.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if he's really onto something, if he's really uncovered something that powerful people don't want us to know. Well, it makes sense that they would try to stop him.
Right. Yeah, it adds a whole other layer of intrigue to his story. But then again, it's hard to know what to believe, isn't it? I mean, how do we know he's not exaggerating or even just, making things up?
That's the thing about these kinds of claims. It's like, where's the line between genuine insight and, well, paranoia or delusion?
It's a tough one. And it's not like we can just call up the Diamond Complex and ask for a comment.
Right. Hello, shadowy overlords. Just checking in. Is this thing real? Okay, thanks. Bye.
Exactly. So we're left to grapple with this information to try to make sense of it without any easy answers. And, I think that's okay. In fact, maybe that's the whole point.
Yeah, maybe it's less about finding the right answer and more about learning to live with the uncertainty, about accepting that there are some things we may never fully understand.
I think that's a really important point because it's easy to get caught up in trying to find the answer, the solution, the smoking gun. But sometimes the real value is in the journey itself, in the process of questioning, of exploring, of challenging our own assumptions.
Absolutely. And that's what I find so compelling about Bright Garlick's work. Even if you don't buy into everything he says, he makes you think, he challenges you to look at the world differently. And that, I think, is always a good thing.
It is. It's a reminder that the world is a strange and wonderful place. And sometimes the most important thing is to just stay curious, stay open-minded, and keep asking questions. So to all of you out there in listener land, keep digging, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep an open mind. You never know what you might find.